Star Trek Wars, Picard Edition. I'm your co-host, Jordan. Joining me today, it's Joselyn, and much like Corey Soong, Joselyn takes a vial of medicine each day just so she can go outside to see the sun for a few minutes.
Yeah.
It ends about the same way.
It ends about the same way, which is me writhing on the ground in agonizing pain because I don't want to be outside and I don't understand how I got there and why there's a need to do this. Yeah, I feel that girl pretty hard. Yeah.
Same here. Yeah, mine's called Zyrtec, but
mine's called SPF, but also it doesn't work.
Go outside now so you can be miserable later.
Yeah.
Well, Jocelyn, speaking of going outside, we're reviewing Picard Season 2, Episode 5, Fly Me to the Moon.
Mm-hmm. Classy title.
It is written by Cindy Appel and directed by one Jonathan Frakes.
Yay!
Someone call him the #1 Star Trek director. In this episode, Picard I suppose you wouldn't. I saw you trying to hold in the laughter, but Picard discovers an important person from his past may be integral to the divergence in the timeline. Q continues his manipulation of the timeline, taking an interest in Dr. Adam Soong. Seven and Rafi attempt a daring rescue of Rios. I don't know if that was a daring rescue. Well, Jurati faces the consequences of her deal with the Borg Queen. So, first impression, Justin, for Fly Me to the Moon. What did you think?
You know, this episode was a journey. We started one place and we ended a totally different place I didn't see us going. So for that, I give them credit. Yeah. For sure. It felt like chaos, but in a different way than last week felt like chaos because we arrived somewhere and some things happened. Yeah. It was good. I thought it was good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I thought it was good as well. It was definitely better than last week as far as less filler. Still, yes. In this type of story, I feel like some episodes do feel like filler because it is all set up for a payoff towards the end of the season, I think. This might pay off sooner than the last episode, but it's answering questions, and it's giving us a little more complexity than just going back and fixing one thing. We get the Soong storyline as well as, this kind of this Q situation that's going on where we don't know what's going on or why he's faking a German accent being a professor or a
I don't
psychiatrist.
know why he's doing that either.
As soon as there was a psychiatrist telling, I was like, that's Q. I don't know why I thought
absolutely.
that. Even
I
the German
immediately
accent did not throw me off.
Of course.
That was one of the worst reveals I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because I knew who it was.
Yeah, exactly.
From a mile away.
Also, how many cameras are in that therapist office?
We'll get into that.
And why?
We'll get into the supervisor here shortly. But no, I think everyone had a good amount to do. I thought the twist towards the end with Agnes and kind of replaying that scene and what happened was cool.
Sure.
And, we're going to get to go to a party next week, which we kind of saw the first part of.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it'll be an interesting episode. But no, it was solid. And Fly Me to the Moon, ironically, I've listened to that song probably like 6 or 7 times this week before I knew what the title of the episode was because my son Dax loves the song Fly Me to the Moon. So all week he was asking me, he's like, hey, can you play Fly Me to the Moon? Oh, I love that song. So I listened to that I think the day before I watched it and the day I watched it several times. So I was like, wow.
Pretty classy kid there.
He has the taste in music of a 60-year-old person.
He does. Really does. He really does.
He is into shoe-ops and doo-bops and doo-ops and all that stuff. So if I turn on, I have XM in the car, so if I turn on the 50s station, that is his jam. Anything newer than 1960, not for him.
He thumbs his nose at it, huh?
Pretty much, yeah.
I see.
Nice. All right, Justin, let's get into our pros for this week. What did you like?
I've got to say, without a doubt, my biggest pro is Jurati's red dress. I almost cannot get over how amazing that dress is. I paused it. I risked a pause on Paramount Plus just to get a good...
Whoa.
I know. And I think it messed up my TV for the rest of the day, but
it might mess up the timeline if you pause Paramount Plus. That app is so broken.
It's so true. But that dress, oh my God, she looked so good. They must hate Agnes Girardi. They must hate Alison Pill in this show because they always make her look so plain and so haggard. And I get that that's part of her character, but man, the girl cleans up really well. She looks so good at this gala. And really, for me, Agnes is the biggest pro of this episode. I think she's actually becoming the most interesting character on the show. They gave her so much to do. I thought we were going to have to get till the end of this season before she killed the Borg Queen, but no, she kills her now in the 5th episode. So I thought that was a very bold choice. I thought that was huge. And the way that they've now kind of made her like one with the Borg Queen, they foreshadowed that, I think, adequately. And now the Borg Queen is just kind of like the demon on her shoulder kind of thing. I think that's fantastic. I love that choice for her character, and I love that choice for the show. And I'm interested to see how that kind of pans out. Yeah.
Because initially it seemed like she had shot Their Only Way Home.
Right.
Which I thought that's what happened. And then they show you what actually happened. It's like, it'd be like a drunk caveman shooting his Uber driver. Like, he would not be able to get himself home. So,
I mean, yeah, true. And now they're one person. I don't know. It's very interesting. I like it. I didn't see it coming. Unlike the therapist being Q, I did not see that twist coming. Yeah. And very excited for that.
Part of me felt that she wasn't going to be dead.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting that she can just assimilate through touching someone's face. That's actually terrifying. I probably will not let anyone touch my face ever again.
I don't think it's a good idea, generally speaking.
No, it's true.
I mean,
I don't even like to touch my own face.
Exactly. I hate. I don't want to touch anything. Special guest star Brent Spiner reprising the role he was born to play again and again and again and again. And that is literally any Dr. Soong in any timeline at any point in time, which I'm not mad at. That's a pro for me. It's in my pros. I do feel like he's playing this character. I get very like next big Spider-Man villain vibes from this character. Yeah.
It's always a scientist with good intentions.
Right. Who's just trying to save their daughter. That daughter's going to die, and that will be his villain origin story. I thought that was fine. I think it is creepy to keep your daughter confined when you obviously have the technology to protect her from the elements. Like, also, this technology is a little bit advanced for 2024. Yeah? No?
One would think, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Speaking of the tech in this episode, Q may be morally corrupt, ethically impoverished, and overall just kind of an ass, but he wears a suit really well. I think he wears a suit really well, and I think he has the coolest business cards I have ever seen.
That's true.
If you're like sending your business card to someone else's 3D printer, I think that's pretty badass. So, do I want him as my therapist? No, God, no. But cool business card. And just bringing it back full circle, I love a save the world plot that involves going to a gala. I love an excuse to get the characters dressed up, and I want to see next week every character dressed up, all of them. For some inexplicable reason, they will all have to go to this gala together, or it just doesn't work. So I can't wait for that. Did you have?
Oh, nothing.
No? Okay. I heard the telltale click of the button, like you were coming in for a comment, but
no. I clicked the button because I'm getting some noise on my readout here, but I think it's just a fan, so I'm going to go turn that off in a second. But
okay.
Continue.
I shall. I have some neutral zones. Q as a therapist is like the most terrifying general idea I've ever seen in my whole life, and just no to that. I decline. The needles that they're using to inject this genetic altering material, they do not need to be that big. I have literally, outside of like a veterinarian, never seen a need for a needle that's like, I mean, that thing is like a 5 gauge. Like, there's no need for that. And also, where's the safety mechanism on that needle? Every needle that I'm putting into someone has a like retractable feature for safety. And she's just like hugging her father with now this like, dirty needle. And it just caused me a little anxiety.
With some type of liquid that came from a stranger. Like,
which he was like, oh, don't worry, I tested it out first.
Yeah, I put it into my own body.
Well, but
that's not how it works.
It's not how that. No, it's never how that works. Rife with chaos is such a great way of describing what we're currently experiencing IRL that I was like, yes, rife with chaos. I love that phrase. That's beside the point, but there it is. I have some probably more nitpicky things for this episode, but overall enjoyed it, and those are my pros.
Excellent. Yeah, I think Agnes is becoming one of the strong parts of the show after being the weak link in the first season for the most part. I like her interaction with the Borg Queen, and just the Borg Queen is so devious. And you just see her aboard in the ship trying to figure out how the heck she's going. And she's going to. It's like when you lock up a villain in Batman. Like, he's going to escape. It's just of how long. Arkham is probably the worst prison ever. Like, everyone gets out. Maybe rethink what you're doing.
I mean, there's got to be a reason that all the crime in the entire nation is happening exclusively in Gotham City.
And then you put the jail right there.
Mm-hmm. Maybe think about it, guys.
Walking distance.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyways, the Borg Queen is so deep. It's like she fakes everyone's voice to get... By the way, you can't... Maybe change your passcodes before you bring the Borg Queen onto your ship.
Maybe think about that.
They probably got the email saying, like, hey, there was a breach and your password is included. And they're just like, forget it. Like,
new login from this starship.
Yeah.
If this is you, you can ignore.
That's my starship. That's my address.
Right. That's my computer.
But then she, like, overrides the system, and then she calls 911, basically, or what's it called in the UK?
I think they're in France. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a different number. Whatever that number is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then she speaks French, and she's like, "Oh, send the police to the Picard vineyard."
Help.
And it was so good. Did I miss something, like how the police officer found the ship or walked into the ship?
He was looking out the window, and like the sheen of the cloaking device, like know how and he saw it, and he was like, "Oh, sacre bleu." And then he goes outside
looking down,
to investigate.
taking notes, and then I looked up, and he was in the ship. And then I tried to rewind on Paramount Plus, and you know how that goes.
Good luck, buddy.
So then I just gave up. I was like, I don't think I missed something too important.
Yeah.
But no, just the Borg Queen, her performance, and the devious nature of her, like taking a hostage and forcing Agnes's hand, was fun to watch. I like the moment where the supervisor, or not the supervisor, the the supervisor. So Laris, or whatever her character is, comes onto the ship, and the first thing she sees is the crew dragging a cop
that
out the door.
That was really good.
And Picard's like, I can explain. Like, he's probably not
he's
dead.
Probably
fine. That was pretty ridiculous. I also like the Rafi Picard conversation about her trying to bring up the fact that the supervisor looks just like his butler. That's into him. And she's like, that's weird, right? He's like, yeah, it's weird. She's like, okay, good talk. That was
all right.
Probably Rafi's best scene this season, other than a few Elnor interactions, which were very few.
Agreed.
I find the Q stuff to be intriguing with, how it is connected to the Soongs and what he's doing there. And then the therapy thing, obviously, we know he's trying to manipulate Rene Picard into not going on this mission, so it seems, but to what end, we're not sure.
Right.
And I don't know, I just think that that's interesting, and it's not like string you along interesting yet. It seems like there's payoff, and they're going somewhere with it to where it's not just like they set up in the first episode and they just keep stringing us along. Like they keep setting up new things, answering questions, and then bringing up new ones. So,
which is usually good. I'm not clear on whether or not Renee Picard going wherever the spaceship is going is a good thing or a bad thing, because I don't understand why Q would want the alternate future timeline. Like, it's so ambiguous what people want, and I think where like really good storytelling and drama comes from is knowing what every character wants and making sure that they oppose at least the wants of one other character. And that's all kind of still ambiguous to me.
This is true. Yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with a lot of this stuff. I am not usually a fan of characters talking to dead characters and ones that can physically manifest themselves, but only that character can see them. I find that to be a super annoying trope and one of my least favorites. But with Agnes and the Borg Queen, it actually makes sense because she's like, in science fiction, it makes more sense.
Yes.
Because they are actually the Borg Queen was part of her, much like with Picard to an extent, but she still has some little nanites in her system or something that the Borg Queen can use to manipulate her. So I think that's going to be interesting going forward, and then you can kill off the Borg Queen without having to physically have the Borg Queen anymore, but still have that storytelling element. So I'm looking forward to that. That's most of the pros. I did like Brent Spiner playing another Soong, because it's a different performance for him here, where when he's playing Lore, it's just, evil Data, and when he's mostly, or he's playing Dr. Soong, and then we see him in Enterprise playing one of his other Soong relatives. So we saw him last season, and last season just seemed like a bored Brent Spiner that didn't want to put on Data makeup. His character was very much like, I'm a Soong because he's Brent Spiner, and who else is he going to play? Because he looks just like Data.
I look just like me.
In 2 seasons, we've gotten 2 new Dr. Soong-ish characters.
A Soong for every season.
Exactly. Will this be his Swan Soong? I don't know.
Oh! Hashtag too soon, Jordan. Too soon.
Okay, well, fair enough. I think his performance is good because he's getting to do things and say things I don't think he's ever gotten to do in a Star Trek show. Like, he got to drop the F-bomb this week, which I'm sure made him very happy.
That's right.
So a lot more freedom to express things and no makeup to wear. I could definitely see how he would enjoy that. Neutral zone-wise, everyone is related. Like, it's the sci-fi thing where it's kind of the Rise of Skywalker thing that one of the fans brought up last week, where you have to be related to someone from some huge character in this humongous galaxy. And so it's like the main character happens to be related to this relative that did this thing. So that, depending on how they do it, that could be a con. It's fine because it fits in with the tradition of, Picard and his importance to the galaxy, and maybe why Q sought him out in the first place. So they are telling a story here that they're not just pulling something random. It feels somewhat connected. Also, I don't know if there's neutral zone or con, but there's so much for non-interference. Like, Seven and Rafi go, stop this bus. Now, instead of getting Rafi or just getting Rios out of there, they let everyone go. Like, they don't know who these people are. They're detained. Some of them wrongfully, probably. But you've got like 20-something people on a bus that the cops put in there that are handcuffed. Like, all right, guys, go run into the wood. Like, what?
Also, I don't understand. What I don't understand is, like, they're like, if we don't stop this bus right now, we'll never find him. And it's like, so you can't transport him from Mexico where he's going to be dropped off, I assume? These people aren't like
Jocelyn,
prisoners.
if they can't get into a dinner party, they're not getting into Mexico.
They're not getting into Mexico, okay.
That is kind of ridiculous because they have their scanners and they have a ship.
Right.
And they have transporters that
They
work.
have everything they need.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe one of them could have just like created a diversion. Like, everyone, look over here.
Mm-hmm.
And then transported him out. But
I think there's
they decided to like
thing
mess
going
with
on
time.
here where that divergence is happening in 3 hours, so they got to get him back before then. But
that's a good point.
They should play that out more than just like, your buddy's on a bus, you'll never see him again. But also the characters saying that don't know that they're from the future and have transporters. So, there is
that's true.
Very low stakes, it seems, as far as that storyline's concerned.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting to the supervisor. And talking about how everyone's related, but also we get everyone is playing a different character. It's like an anthology show, but it's not an anthology show. It's very weird. You have the same actors playing different characters, but it doesn't really make sense. I can give you a break on Brent Spiner because that's just what he does.
Yeah, he's a Sung.
He's the only Sung. Well, except for... Oh, never mind. But Laris is the supervisor. Like, I don't know. Like, everyone else is playing relatives. She's just playing a completely different character, and the only difference is her ears are less pointy. Like,
and she doesn't have an accent.
Instead of,
She has an American accent. And I think...
She does have an American accent.
I mean, you invite these actors back for a second season, and you got to plug them in. I mean, what are you going to do? Kill all of them off in the first episode and then put their bodies in a freezer, never to be seen again, except like in a mirage?
Well, you could also just have characters that are there for a season. It's not like they're part of a crew that has a continuing thing.
But I think Picard and Laris are going to have this arc.
I'm sure they are. I know why they're doing it. It takes away from the story a little bit, in my opinion. If she was just, the Watcher with someone else and they were using this to get Picard to be comfortable, like I said last week, it would make more sense to me. But it's just weird. And on that note, like, what a boring and creepy job this woman has. She has been watching the same person for over 20 years.
Oh.
How dumb are you? Like, the divergence point. Why are you not...
Well...
Why would you not just come in like a couple weeks before and give her a pep talk? Be like, hey, you got to go to...
you got to like
don't
know
listen
these
to your
people.
Stupid German therapist. You've got to like watch her since she was a baby and do what? Like, I need some more clarification.
It sounds like an awful job. Which,
it does.
When people talk about like normal ass people being spied on by like technology or whatever, I just generally feel bad for whoever it is who's spying on me because it's a very boring time. There's not much going on.
Like the person
here.
that has to listen to my voicemails that I leave to my friends.
Like, God.
Wow, they're getting entertained. I can tell you that. They're also probably bored out of their mind 99% of the time.
Pretty bad.
So it's just weird the way that's set up. And she has just these cameras and she's watching therapy sessions. Like, what else is she watching? This is not...
I know. Where do you draw the line? Also, how do you have a B-roll camera everywhere?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Technology.
I guess.
Soji also, in that the same breath, like everyone's related, being Adam Soong's daughter, it's just not nearly as effective to me as having a younger actress, perhaps. Like a more frail-looking, I don't know. Like
she looks very healthy.
Younger than teenage age girl playing this role. Because right or wrong, it's harder for me to feel the same level of sympathy for a 30-year-old woman living in a mansion.
Hey now. Let's not be talking about women in their 30s with such flippancy, okay? Some of us may take offense to that.
I'm in my 30s, so I take offense to that. But I'm willing to offend myself. I don't...
Yeah, it may hit a little harder if she looked kind of sickly, but...
Sickly or just like younger, because she's...
I think all she does is work out in that room, because apparently she isn't allowed to leave.
Be honest with you, if I'm in my 30s and I've never been able to go outside, I'm looking a lot worse than that. Like, I'm not working out every day.
Sure. Oh my goodness. No.
Also, nutrition-wise, there's just a lot of plot conveniences that they're wrapping things up with just a sentence of dialogue, which I prefer to not referencing or mentioning things. But she's just like, oh yeah, I did this and I fixed him. He's not dead and I wiped his memory. It's like, oh, okay. Which they kind of just like shoot that, like push that under the rug before, where like Dr. Crusher, like, well, I erased his memories for the last 8 hours or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, I beat him. Okay, perfect. So there's just a lot of things. And then I'll talk about it in my cons. There's another big one. They're just like, what? the what now? Some of the things that they bring up are like, oh, well, we can't do that. You're from the future, like 400 years, like you just mentioned. Like, we can't find Rios if he goes to Mexico. What?
Right, what? It's like right there.
South Texas is as far as our scanners go, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
There are aspects of this arc, the last 2 episodes, that just don't feel very Star Trek, because we have normal people in a current century going to a cocktail party.
Yeah.
Which is fine, and I'm all for it, but I was just getting such a awesome vibe from the first episode of being on a starship and having people in Starfleet uniforms and seeing like the LCAR system and things that I associate with that era of Star Trek that I grew up in.
Yeah.
And now it's like we're on Earth in this drab, we're basically in 2022.
Right.
And it's just like...
And we're all so eager to get away from this time that like... It would have been nice.
I just want to see some like future stuff in my Star Trek. Like I want to see space. I want to see aliens. I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, like an episode where they go back in time, very Trek. A movie where they go back in time, very Trek. But like a whole season of this it might get a little trying.
I'm a little concerned about that. Yes.
Yeah.
It's been good and enjoyable so far, but the plot to me it's getting more complex. It's a little oversimplified when it turned into we just have to make Renee Picard not depressed so that she'll go on this mission and save humanity. Like it's
okay.
That Heroes tagline, like save the cheerleader, save the world. It's like save the astronaut, save the planet. Like it's similar. They're throwing in the Q stuff and the Soong stuff, and I think it'll get more complex. And you have the Borg Queen going there, so there's more to it than that. I guess this isn't my neutral zone. There's a ton of plot conveniences, not the least of which is Laris's character saying, "My technology can only get one person into the party." Like, wait, what?
What?
That is one line of dialogue that is like almost unforgivable. Like, because of this reason, I have procured this one spot at the party, and that's all I can do right now.
Right.
We're going to have to hack the main... Whatever. She kind of explains it, but it's just like, my technology will only let me get one person into the party. It's like...
It's the craziest little... Yeah, you're right. It's a plot convenience, of course.
You can travel through portals from one part of San Francisco into a vault door through a vault door in your apartment complex and have multiple cameras set up on, this godlike entity who's faking a German accent, but you can't get 2 people into a party.
It's insane. I was thinking about this, and it would have almost made more sense if like the tech that they were using for the party was so antiquated that there was no way to like get around it with all the future tech. Like think about a list of names written down instead of in a digital database or something like that. Like how difficult that would be to add someone to that list.
You just distract someone and then you write it down on the list.
You could do that. But how?
With the same colored ink pencil.
I know.
Or pen, rather.
Think about like when you go to the fair and they give you that hand stamp, and it's like a hand stamp you've never seen before, and then like you'd have to go find that hand stamp somewhere in the same color ink, and then they change the color of ink on different days. So that, exactly. That's some high-tech stuff.
That I can get behind.
Yeah, that I could get behind.
Except they could probably just replicate said stamp and ink.
If their replicators were working, what if they were just pumping out steamed bananas? And black licorice, you know what I mean? That could be fun.
That could be a problem. Oh, man. Well, I think that's pretty much everything. I did have one other minor thing. Like, at this point in Star Trek, I feel like it is a huge oversight to not have a certified historian just on every crew, because time travel happens so frequently that you would think that would be a requirement to have someone who is just... has this in-depth knowledge of every century that you could possibly time travel to in the past.
Right.
we've seen it, I think, a few times in the original series that they had the one-off character like, oh, well, this is our historian who's been on the ship this whole time that we're just seeing now because
it just keeps to himself. It doesn't talk much.
Himself, exactly, because he's a historian. He loves his books.
He has an allergy to the sun and rain and wind and fire and all of it.
Except for today on this one planet where we need him. So I think we maybe seen it in TNG as well, but it would just be cool to have that character because then you don't have to have Rafi giving this exposition of, oh, well, this is a yellow light and that's what this means and this is how you do this. And you wouldn't have to have an in-universe character that we've never seen before be like, oh, no, this is the police station. You need the ice station up this, like, super helpful dude from a few episodes ago.
Right.
Who's just giving them everything that they need. I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't work, but I would just like to see more of an explanation. I do also want to see these characters like not blend in and give themselves away in some ways.
I want more of that too.
Yeah.
I want more of that too. That's just fun. And that's part of the fun of being in a different time period. And if we have to go through like all the rote plot points and the convenience of it, I want to have some fun along the way.
I agree. Well, I think that's all the pros and the NutriZones, Jocelyn. We're going to take a quick little break. And I'm going to tell everyone about Star Trek Wars and how they can get a hold of us here at the podcast if they want to.
Oh, of course they want to.
They do.
They're clamoring to. We can't hardly hold them back.
It's true.
How can they do it, Jordan? Tell them.
I know. I had to take my personal phone number off the contact list because my voicemail box was full.
Oh, I bet.
I got one butt dial and it just filled up the mailbox. Anyways, we are obviously the Star Trek Wars podcast, and we have reviewed every episode of Star Trek ever. So if you have a favorite episode, I sometimes do this. I'll go back and find a Star Trek podcast and look for a certain episode I think is of great interest to me and hear their take on it. And we have a back catalog of over 300 episodes. We also have a Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/Star Trek Wars, you can listen to Jeremy and Chelsea. They're getting to the top ranked episodes of Star Trek of all time. And Jeremy's going to share the scores for the first time of the number one rated Star Trek episodes as voted on by us and the fans on our Facebook council page. Mm-hmm. So you can go to facebook.com, same thing, Star Trek Wars, and there's a group that you can join where we discuss the episodes and rate them each week, and you may even get your comments read on air. You can also go to SpeakPipe or download the SpeakPipe app and go to speakpipe.com/Star Trek Wars and leave us a voicemail. And that box will not be full. I can guarantee you that. You can also email us at StarTrekWarsPod@gmail.com. So now you have no excuse.
So many ways.
So many ways. I've forgot most of the ways.
Wow.
You can also text Jeremy personally at 55... No.
Oh, good. Yeah. 911. Area code.
Well, Jocelyn. And also, I don't know if you've been watching. There's been like... on the Star Trek or Paramount Plus, depending on who you follow on social media. On Instagram, they've been posting like these vignettes and Facebook of all the characters for Strange New Worlds. So we've got a video about Hemmer, the new bleached Anar character on Strange New Worlds, who's like a legally blind actor.
Very nice.
And legally blind.
Sorry,
it's not about a lawyer.
Did you say they're a bleached Anar?
Yes, yeah. Well, they're an Anar who's like kind of like a bleached Andorian, actually. So they're white skin, white eyes, white hair.
Yeah.
And that's the engineer. So we get another...
I consider getting a bleached Anar once, but it just seemed
like the second...
like a lot of trouble for not a lot of payoff. You know what I mean? Like, but anyway, I'm still interested. Yeah, I'm going to go to Instagram and check this out.
Why do I put myself in these situations?
I don't know why you do it.
But there are a lot of just, I guess, character vignettes. So Dr. Mbenga, Dr. Chapel, or Nurse Chapel at this point.
Cool.
Obviously, Anson Mount. Everyone on this show, too, I guess Minor Neutral Zone for Strange New Worlds, looks like they just walked out of a barbershop. They're like, give me the 2022 cut. And like Pike's got his like the sides of his head shaved and then like the hair up top. And like Spock's got like a bowl cut, but it doesn't look like a monkey 70s bowl cut. Like
it's like Prohibition era chic.
Sure.
Okay. I'm into it.
So Yeah, it's good. It's going to look good. It's just like, it's very modern. I don't want terrible looking wigs either. So I guess there's no pleasing the fans. Yeah, right. But I am very much looking forward to Strange New Worlds, and we'll be covering that. And we're a month away, I believe, from the first episode of Strange New Worlds. So check that out, coming to the podcast soon. Jocelyn, let's move into cons and maybe what didn't work for you in this episode, if anything.
So here's some things that didn't work for me. How did that French police officer not discover Agnes sleeping in the chateau? Like literally in the building he was searching, but he did find the spaceship that's cloaked outside.
Yeah.
Not sure how that works. Or maybe he's just terrible at his job. Or very intermittently good, you know?
I think we're all just intermittently good at our jobs, if I'm being honest.
That's a really good point. Intermittently good at my job is like a goal for me at this point, so not there yet. When Dr. Sung injects his daughter with the serum that he's like tried out himself for safety, I think Corey is her name. It's like Kore. I don't know, it's Core or Corey. I don't understand why they can't just do like a phased approach to sun exposure. Like, why not like dip a finger out? Like, take the like vampire approach to it, where it's like, oh, does the sun still burn me? Oh, yes, it does. My hand, you know. But he just like takes the whole like sun virtual umbrella thing off at the same time. Also, here's a cure for your sun exposure problem: an actual umbrella. Like, maybe carry one around with you and you can still, like, go to the store or a restaurant or hang out with friends.
A drone with a magical net that blocks the sun's rays that you have a dozen of.
That you actually have at your fingertips.
But in fairness, Jocelyn, he met a very devious, strange man who referred to himself as, like, God in a diner who sent him a cool business card.
And offered to inject his daughter with something, blue, which... Who can resist?
Yeah.
I just don't understand why those are the only two choices. This episode took a lot of tonal detours along the way. We start with like Apollo 13, and then we transition to Prison Break. We get some light if Iron Man had a sick kid, but then was also Elon Musk stuff. And then we finally end on Ocean's 11 with a hint of Fight Club thrown in for fun.
Oh, yeah.
It just went a lot of places tonally for me, and it was hard to keep up a little bit. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Raffi and Seven aren't really given much to do here. They needed to break Rios. I mean, I'll throw Rios in this as well. They needed to like make him escape, that's fine, I guess, because we get a little action and Raffi's kind of coming around and her and Seven are maybe making up. But I'm just kind of generally wondering why Rios needed to be captured in the first place. Like, what was gained besides this like temporary detour or sense of urgency? Like, what has been added? What have we discovered?
Because they're gonna need a doctor at some point in the near future.
I'm cool with that.
And Rios is gonna have an in with that.
Sure. I'm totally cool with him meeting this doctor or whatever. But why did we have to go the whole route of him being imprisoned and then put on a bus, with other people who were probably just in the country to do jobs we don't want to do anyway? So I don't understand, like, why.
Fair point.
I just don't know why. I'm also, like, totally cool with releasing everyone on that bus. Like, very for it. They're just trying to, like, survive here, it seems like. They all seemed, like, genuinely scared for themselves. They got me with the Elnor. I was like, it's Elnor! And then I was like, oh, wait, no, it's not.
Well, that's the part of the problem for me, too, is we have all these characters that we've seen before playing different roles. So it wouldn't be too weird at this point if Elnor was just on that bus somehow.
Right, just somehow part of it. Honestly, he will. He will be I've already predicted this. Like, he's going to show up, and we're going to leave at the end of the season with that version of Elnor coming with us.
Oh, interesting. They're going to Harry Kim it, kind of.
Yeah, we're going to.
Well, I think I might know why they got you with that.
Why?
That character that she sees, that's actually the actor that plays Elnor.
All right. Moving on. You know what? Fool me once, shame on you. Okay. The last con that I've written down.
Fool me twice, double shame on you.
Yeah, well, to try triple dog shame you. Picard and not Laris spend most of this episode just kind of sitting and talking or standing and talking, which is fine once in a while, but it's like not much of a departure from last episode when he and Guinan were just kind of sitting and talking, standing and talking. And I guess I just want more from those characters. I want more from Picard. Like, he's the title character in this show and he doesn't do much. And I don't know. I'm just hoping that that's going to change as we go along here in this season.
Yes, I agree. That is one of my top cons that I noticed much more this week because Picard is in this episode a little bit more.
Yeah.
But man, I hate to say this, but Patrick Stewart just Picard sounds very old, and he's also sitting in almost every scene, which I understand. He's an 82-year-old man.
Yeah, to be fair, he's not going to be like doing the stunts. He's not going to be like
Sure. In the first season, they had him like running, and then his stunt double was running up the stairs. Then they have him being blown up, and like there's the illusion of him doing a lot more for one. And he's 82, I believe, in real life. And then Jeremy pointed out in the show he's like 10, 11 years older. So Picard himself is like 93. So
thought.
We were both right, but I was talking about Patrick Stewart. You were talking about Picard, the character. So.
I see.
But Jeremy's also wrong, and so are we, because Picard is about a year and a half old now, maybe 2. He's like a toddler, basically, because he got a new body at the end of last season.
That's true. So. He did. Very confusing, this one.
Fake news, Jeremy. I mentioned a lot of plot conveniences. I think I kind of discussed that. And for me, it's just a sheer lack of story for Seven. Like, Seven is so interesting as a character. And in Voyager, she's a very powerful character. And I think they almost gave the role that Agnes is playing this season could have been Seven because of her connection with the Borg Queen, but I don't know if people would buy her. I definitely bought. How cool would it have been to see Jerry Ryan shoot the Borg Queen with a shotgun? Like, now that it wasn't cool to see Agnes shoot the Borg Queen's neck off with a shotgun, because there's something just. We talked about the Tommy gun scene from First Contact, and I did not know we were going to get.
I didn't know.
Almost a one-upping of that with a 12 gauge to the neck. Which was just pretty gnarly to see. But that would have been pretty powerful, because I'd totally buy 7 of 9 doing that, given her history with the Borg. And she plugged into the hive mind last season. We saw her plug in the cube, and her eyes go black. So there could have been a connection formed there.
She became the Borg Queen last season.
Pretty much, yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, so I could have seen that given the track record. Now, I know they want to give Agnes something to do, but I think that it kind of undermines Seven a little bit, because she's stuck driving a car and then pushing a button on a tricorder this week. So not much for her to do. She was the president like 2 weeks ago, and now she's been relegated.
Now look at her.
Now look at her. So I trust that they'll give Seven more to do. But yeah, this is more turning into Star Trek Agnes than it is Star Trek Picard at this point, which is not a bad thing. Picard is still integral to the plot, obviously, with our lead suspect being, and that's what was leaked last week that I discussed, is the blonde woman reading the book that was in IMDb listed as Renee Picard. So we knew it was a relative of Picard.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So now that we've actually met her, we can actually discuss that. But that's most of the cons for me so far. A lot of neutral zone stuff and a few concerns that I have, but overall, really enjoyed the episode. There's a lot that they're doing. They're bringing a lot of Star Trek lore into the show with the whole Gary 7 supervisor angle. which I thought that was pretty cool. And instead of making up something new, the writers are actually looking at canon and what's been established and what fits into the story that they're trying to tell. So I give them huge points for that. Like I said, there's going to be a party next week. I'm excited for that. There's going to be probably a lot of nice costumes, so I know you're excited for that too. So a lot of excitement. Speaking of excitement, we should get to the fans and see what they thought of this week's episode, Joselyn.
For sure. Well, our first fan comment is from our number one fan, Barbara Wilpole. Barbara says, how strange that the security at a party is better than that of a starship. Poor Agnes. Here and I thought she was doing so well this season, and then she gets her mind taken over again. But it's fun to see many returning actors. Where is Jeffrey Combs in all of this? Fair question.
I would love to see Jeffrey Combs. Yeah, no, Barbara's absolutely right. The security there is tighter than any Starfleet vessel I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't see any Ferengi sneaking their way into that party and stealing a shuttle and hightailing it out through the wormhole. Orson C.C. Heiser says, great episode. So glad I guessed right on the supervisor being from the group that sent Gary 7. Too bad we couldn't see the original actor come back for a cameo, but I see that he passed away in 1994. Aww. Don't forget to call that number on Q's business card. It is too funny. And I did do that.
What was the number?
And you missed that. So I will give you the phone number here shortly, and you should give it a call.
Should I call it?
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. All right. 867-5309?
Yes, that's it.
Yep. No, it's not.
Oh, Tommy Two-Tone. No, it's not.
Kevin Lung says, keeps the story moving forward. I really wish we just got it all at once. The season is so well written, it's torture slowing it down. Oh, that was nice.
Chris Rowell says, every episode, I feel like I can never say his name. Chris Rowell says, every episode answers 2 or 3 unanswered questions from the previous, but then leaves you with 5 more. Stewart, Delancey, Spiner, Ryan, directed by Frakes, plus the continued excellence from the newcomers, Allison Pill, has been a revelation this season. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I'm having a tough time with Issa Briones coming in as Spiner's actual daughter in 2024. I agree, but I really shouldn't. Spiner has played a different Soong character in like 900 different series. Excited to see where this all goes. I like the fuzziness surrounding Renee and her historical impact to the timeline. I'm intrigued, surprised, confused, and impressed simultaneously. Another solid 8. Now, the 6-day slog waiting for the next episode.
Keith Danforth says, I can't believe I am finding myself liking this season, and that's not an intentional dig. It's just after the lackluster seasons of Discovery and a middling first season of Picard, this season actually looks and feels Trek. They're striking a perfect balance of moving the story along while letting the cast do their work. I love the supervisor's reference. I think that it's more clever than trying to invent something weird. My middleware is something the crew actually mention in the episode. How does Europa make the Confederation? How does Soong and his daughter make the Confederation? I know we'll get an answer, but I hope it actually lands and doesn't turn into some, well, we added fascism for dramatic effect thing. Negative continues to be Raffi. I get it, the hurt is real, but if it wasn't for 7, she'd just Michael Burnham her way through this season. That's a verb, right? 8 calls straight to voicemail out of 10. I mean, that being said, fascism is really dramatic. It does bring the drama every time.
I know, really.
They're such queens, those fascists. Anyway.
And not Borg queens. Although the Borg queen is kind of fascist.
They wish.
All right, and one Jeremy Reed, he says, can we just take a second to soak in the fact that it's 2022 and we just got a new Star Trek episode that featured John Delancey, Q sharing a scene with a member of the Soong family played by Brent Spiner. A weakened Borg queen being cut down by a shotgun, but not before managing to insert her consciousness into its attacker. Picard talking to his supervisor from Gary 7. This is just surreal to me, and I'm loving it. Really excited to find out what's going on with Q and his cruel intentions, or I don't know if this plays well on a podcast. Quel intentions. Q apostrophe UEL. Don't worry, he's not done yet. Does he have some kind of continuum cumentia? The only real cons, again, fall on Rafi. Wow. Michelle Hurd is a powerhouse. I just wish that they would give her more to do, more work, with the non-stop, in-your-face anger, stubborn sadness. Oh, and this was the perfect time to bring in a DS9er and have James Darren at the party singing Fly Me to the Moon. Other than that, and a few nitpicks, I really enjoyed this episode. I feel it's the strongest this season since the premiere. I give it 8 cue cards. If you haven't called the number he left, you should. And that number is, I'll give you time to get a pen at home, which I don't need to do because this is a podcast not on the Paramount Plus app that you can pause, rewind, and fast forward at your leisure. That number is 323-634-5667. Give it a call. It's worth it. So Thank you all for the feedback. We appreciate it as always. And Joselyn, that means it's time to rate this episode.
Is it? Is it time to rate the episode, or are we going somewhere first?
It's time to rate this episode. I did my best.
You know what? Here, just hold my hand. No reason. Okay, and I'm just going to tap. I'm just going to tap my chest here. And oh, we're in the basement.
You Michael Burnham me.
Oh, I gotcha. It's that transporter by proxy thing. It's real, and it's look it up. It's a real thing. Anyway,
it happened in Star Trek 4.
Hey, exactly. I just jump on you and we transport together. It's not weird.
Into the future.
Into the future. Anyway, we're in the basement. In the basement, we go to the IMDb page and we find 1-star reviews that are decidedly
negative.
Yes, and this week we have one from Imagine Loving Life 1. This guy sounds depressed to me. Anyway, Imagine Loving Life 1 says, where are the spaceships? Futuristic gadgets and so on. Star Trek was about exploring space. It was never about exploring today's world. It was never about that, Jordan.
Never.
This crap is so boring. Yep. Patrick or Picard and Q couldn't carry the show anymore. The storytelling is just horrible. Jordan, it's never been about time travel.
Never about the past or current events.
When has Trek ever traveled through time to stop something horrible from happening in the future or to right a horrible wrong currently happening
maybe
in the future?
50 examples, I couldn't think of a time.
Exactly. Other than those 50 examples. So, also, your screen name is Imagine Loving Life. I am concerned for you, and I recommend a therapist, but I do not recommend Q, just to be clear. And also check that office for bugs and cameras, because apparently that's a thing. I don't care if it is a supervisor. I don't want anyone listening in on my therapy sessions. Things get real weird in there, so. Anyway, is it time to rate this puppy?
It sure is, Joselyn.
Woo! Should I go first?
Yes, as you always do.
Okay. As I always shall. I really liked this episode. It's not my favorite episode so far of the season. However, I gave it a 7. 7 severed Borg queens living in my head rent-free.
Wow.
Yeah, not charging for that.
All right, I'm going to give it an 8, probably just because it was much better than last week, and the twist at the end and where that's going, and the fact that we get to start off at a party next week. I'm excited. I just want to go to a party, I think.
I think you do.
Like a fancy, nice
Someone should throw you a pantsy party.
I would prefer a pantsy party. I went to a party that had bottomless mimosas, but I guess they weren't talking about my pants, so that got awkward real quick.
Oh, so sorry. Okay.
The most recent party I went to was a father-daughter dance, and I got dressed up for that. But an actual
bottomless mimosas at a father-daughter dance. It's a really weird,
different Joselyn
party.
Jeremy.
Okay.
That is not what I said at all.
Excellent.
Thank you for ruining
all
that.
All right. Hey,
I give this episode In 8, you're not going to believe it, but 8 cue cards.
What?
Jeremy, we did have a discussion. No, I rated it. I went on the Facebook page because I try to avoid reading anything until I've watched the episode.
Right.
And I got on there. I started reading Jeremy's review, and like a sentence in, I was like, this guy gave it the same rating I did. I freaking knew it.
You knew it.
I think that's happened like 2 or 3 times in Star Trek Wars history, but
yeah.
Great minds think alike, I guess.
I was going to say, kind of makes you wonder if you ever took a shotgun to his neck and then he imprinted himself into your brain, right?
That's a good question. Yeah, it does make me wonder.
Yeah, kind of makes me wonder. I don't know.
You can see Jeremy, right?
Sure. Okay, whatever you want.
To be fair, I've never actually seen Jeremy's physical body before. Just hear his voice.
Sound of his voice. Yeah. And an avatar at best.
All right, we'll have to do some research.
Yeah.
I've got some cameras in his therapy session, so we'll dig in.
Great. I'll need every angle.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
You should hear my German accent. All right, Jocelyn, it's time for our next time on, and I'm excited to hear what's going to happen next time on Star Trek Picard. Do you have a deleted scene or?
I have a next time on, and it's a big one. We're going to get more Brent Spiner. So next time on Star Trek Picard, Dr. Soong continues his experimentation with the elixir he received from Q, desperately trying to find a formula that will cure his daughter of her allergy of the sun and the water and basically life itself. Finding what he believes to be the right potion, he, of course, as you do, tests it on himself first. And he is exposed to some crazy radiation that also makes him impervious to water, becoming Rain Man, mega villain, and card-counting sensation who takes the casino world by storm, makes a ton of money. It goes in a weird direction, but it starts so strong. I think you're going to want to watch it.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Well, Jocelyn, I'm stalling because we just had 2 votes roll in on the Facebook page as I was adding up the numbers.
Oh, no. You need Rain Man to do the math.
I need... Oh, that kind of Rain Man. Okay. I apologize. I'm not paying attention. You said Rain Man, and I thought it was like a Aquaman type
He's
character.
A card-counting sensation and mega villain.
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, just try to... You got to be quick, Jordan. You got to be quick around here.
That'd be quicker than that. All right, Jocelyn. Well, the fans have voted. They have spoken. They give this episode a 7.36, which brings the overall score to a 7.52. So
nice.
Yes. Nice. Yeah, as I was going to say before you so rudely interrupted with your next time.
Pardon me.
I didn't forget anything. All right. Well, Jocelyn, I'm glad you asked. My next time on is...
Yeah, do you have a next time on? I'm always wondering.
You know what? That's a good question. I do. And the stakes have never been higher, Jocelyn, because a great Klingon warrior is tasked with restoring the timeline by returning to the recent past to right a wrong.
Oh, boy.
He must go back to this divergence point in time where a one Dr. Crusher has proved to be inept and botched a very serious surgery.
You don't say.
That's right, Jocelyn. He has to go back. This mysterious Klingon warrior that I couldn't say his name, but he goes back to a starbase to have Dr. Pulaski perform a vasectomy. That's right. A prime timeline with no Alexander. Could you imagine?
My God. Poor Alexander.
And that's like where we find in the first season of Star Trek Worf what happened.
Yeah. Nice.
Surprise.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek Worf. Oh, you can only dream.
Well, Michael Dorn's been dreaming about it for about 30 years, so.
Let's do it. Oh, not on board. Okay.
Maybe. I wouldn't mind seeing Worf again. I don't know that I need a Star Trek Worf show at this point.
Okay.
In life, but
sure.
I would not mind seeing Michael Dorn reprise his role. Apparently his price is pretty steep, so we'll see if it happens.
Pay up, Paramount.
Speaking of steep prices, Jocelyn.
Yeah.
Paramount Plus. All right. True. Well, we've got. Did you watch the new Halo show yet?
No, I have not.
Have standards?
I have standards. Exactly. Yes. Thank you.
It's hard to watch the new Halo show when Yellowstone season 4 just dropped on Peacock.
Wow. So. Speaking of standards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Speaking of gold
I'm
standards.
a rancher, and this is my land, and you can't take it from me. Is that basically Yellowstone in a nutshell?
You're pretty close, actually.
This is my daughter, and she cries a lot, and her mascara ain't the waterproof kind. Is that also
accurate?
Pretty accurate?
Keep going.
I feel like I've seen this show already.
To be fair, though, she is a truly fascinating character. That is, oh man.
I have no doubt.
You would have to watch. It is, it's something else.
I see.
Anyways, Joselyn, I'm excited to be back next week. We'll be reviewing the 6th episode of Star Trek Picard. Any closing thoughts, Joselyn? Any comments? Anything you're looking forward to?
I am looking forward to the gala and the outfits, and I am looking forward to finally finding out how they are going to utilize Elnor in this current time and timeline. Because I'd like to have him back. I forget what his name is, the actor's name, but I would like to see him doing things.
It's Evan Evagora.
Evan Evagora, come on back. Let's make you like somebody. I don't know. Anybody.
They almost have to at this point. They've brought every character from season 1 back. I'm shocked that they don't have Loris's husband, Jaban, back as like the fruit stand man or something.
Maybe I'll write him into my next time on.
There you go. You can always bring him back. Yeah. So he's like, oh, this is my boyfriend. Because like, God dang it.
Can't escape this man.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, Jocelyn. Well, next week, we'll be back for more Star Trek Picard. Until then, Jocelyn, I just got an exclusive invitation to the Star Trek Wars annual party. It's a banquet.
What?
But
you did?
Jeremy only sent one invitation, so
only what?
I guess.
But I have a dress. I can come.
Well,
can you get me in?
I don't think so.
What if you go?
My technology can only get one of us in, Jocelyn.
I knew it. It's the same story.
But if I get captured, Jeremy has a foolproof system. But if I can access his spreadsheet, I'll put your name on there. Oh wait, it's a Google Doc that I can edit right now. Okay, you're in.
Oh, great. Yeah, awesome. Yay!
All right, I'll see you at the party next week. And until then, computer and program.
Thanks for listening to Star Trek Wars.